Car, truck, and SUV payments are now over $1,000 a month for many buyers. We're talking about people who bought in 2023, and we're going to be talking about people who are going to buy in 2024. There's a high chance you're going to spend over $1,000 a month in car payments. That's scary, folks, stuff, and it's starting to become the norm because, well, your average car payment is in the $700 US range, meaning a lot of people are over, for the average to be in the mid 700s, a lot of people are over $1,000 a month. And with a lot of that has to do with vehicle prices that have increased. Less rebates than we saw, 3 years ago. Much bigger prices, less rebates, and much higher interest. And that's how we end up with $1,000 a month becoming the new norm for buying a new vehicle. And of course, used vehicles that get financed never seem to follow that far behind. Because let's say you get a 4-year-old used vehicle, and then because it's 4 years old, you can't finance it as long as a new vehicle. Let's take a better example. Let's take a 6-year-old vehicle. You're going to be able to finance that vehicle for 4, 5, or 6 years, max 6 years. But does it make sense to have the vehicle total paid off over a total of 12 years? It's going to be 12 years old when you're done paying it. You take a 6-year-old vehicle, if you pay it for 6 years, you're done paying it when it's 12 years old. That means you're going to have lots of repairs and maintenance to keep that vehicle on the road. So I've got to ask you, does it make sense to save, let's say, $300 a month? Because yes, the vehicle's at 6 years old, it's going to be half the price of what it is when it's new. But you're going to finance it at a higher interest rate than a new for 5 or 6 years. So when it's done paying, you're going to have your monthly payment and maintenance and repairs. So are you really saving $300? That's the big issue. If you look at a new vehicle, that's going to be double the price, but that, let's say you pay it on 7 years or even 8 years. Well, when you're done paying the vehicle, it's going to be 7 or 8 years old. Your last 3 years of car payments is going to cost you a lot less in maintenance and repairs than getting that 6-year-old vehicle at a much higher interest rate. So if you do save $300 a month, on paper, are you really saving $300 a month? And that's why I'd say it's worth considering shopping a new vehicle if you can get it at a much better interest rate than your used vehicle. So car buyers are facing high prices, close to $50,000 US on average, and they're paying more per month in interest. Meanwhile, luxury cars have become more popular relative to cheaper alternatives. So that's what's causing this high monthly payment, the increase in your average monthly payment. So Edmunds here is saying that $1,000 a month payment is becoming more common. I know I'm seeing most of the vehicles I'm selling that are over $1,000 a month Canadian. So some people need to think, everyone really needs to be thinking about this, because this is an issue. A new vehicle on 5 years, some people, they just get the idea of 5 years stuck in their head, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to pay what I can on 5 years. But if you're getting a 4-year-old vehicle and you're paying it on 5 years, I'd say look at the monthly payment and compare it to a new, because while the new will be, yes, roughly double the price with your potentially much lower interest rate, and maybe also a rebate because new car lots are flooded. So manufacturers and dealers are putting down rebates. You might end up with only a $200 or $300 a month difference. And instead of getting a higher mileage used vehicle that is 5 years old, that you pay for 5 years, that by the time you're done paying it on 10 years, maybe to get that lower monthly payment that you can afford, consider, instead of comparing it to a new vehicle for 5 years versus an old vehicle, 5-year-old vehicle paid on 5 years, consider your new vehicle paid on 6 or 7 years. Because keep in mind, maintenance and repairs are going to cost you more on your 5-year-old vehicle. You got to be able to keep it on the road. And of course, you also have to be able to make your monthly payment. We all have to, prepare and expect that rents could go up. Groceries could continue to go up. Now, the new vehicle average price, according to Kelley Blue Book data, is over $48,000, and that's an increase of over $7,000 on average than 2 years ago. And with auto interest rates at 7.1%, well, yeah, it makes it pretty tough. Now, the average monthly payment is at a record high because, of course, vehicles are more expensive, of $733 in the second quarter of 2023, according to Edmunds. So, yeah, prices are going up. We've seen models like the Ford F-150 that if you're looking at a 2023 on the lot right now, you can get, a $5,000 rebate on that. So consider that, consider a current model, a 2023 on the lot somewhere with a decent interest rate and a good rebate. Compare that to the used vehicle you're shopping, because that could save you thousands. Now, folks, that's the show for tonight. I hope you take this and save thousands. I'm wishing you all well. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate everyone making it into the show tonight. Thank you for making it to the live. We talked about a lot of vehicles here this evening. I hope this information was, I hope it was entertaining. I know it's going to be useful to help save you thousands, because it's helped me save thousands. I hope you get to, wish you all more cars and more power. I hope you get into that new vehicle or used vehicle that you might be shopping for, or maybe 2024 is going to be about saving money up for that vehicle. Let us know in the comments section. I really appreciate everybody. We're going to have to leave the rant. I'm telling you, I even had a section of rant here for the evening. I can show you this good section of rant going on, but we'll have to get more into it at another time because we don't have time for a rant this evening. I've got the daughter to go bathe and get to bed, but we had some great information. Just two quick little things to prepare us for next week's rant. Do keep in mind here, two things, quick rant. Keep in mind, in the 1960s, they said oil would be gone in 10 years. In the 1970s, they said there'd be another ice age in 10 years. In the 1980s, they talked about acid rain and how it will destroy all crops within 10 years. In the 1990s, it was the ozone layer. That was going to be gone in 10 years. And in the 2000s, they said that the ice caps again, the ice caps would be gone in 10 years. None of this ever happened. All of it resulted in excuses for more taxes. Please, folks, keep in mind that the governments might be just trying to get more taxes out of us. So before jumping on we all have to get EV vehicles right now, even though the power grid can't handle it in most states and even most countries. Let's not all rush to willingly and easily give up our freedoms. I think everyone on the channel here loves driving their vehicle and likes to change vehicles every so often. So please, yes, be careful of the Rothschilds, the Klaus Schwab schemes, the World Economic Forum, the WHO. Be careful of what they're trying to do to take our liberties away. We saw it in the last 3 years, how they can easily take away our liberties. They can censor us. Anyone, even epidemiologists, top of the line, world-class scientists were censored. Some lost the chance to work, to get grants, to work on research projects because, they showed, there was a famous petition that went around of top scientists, over 10,000 top scientists signed one petition warning of the dangers of the mRNA vaccine, and they were all censored. And the authors of that petition were basically shunned by the community. And remember, what we hear isn't always true. Question everything. Really question everything. Please don't vote blindly based on looks or someone who speaks smoothly. I think many of you in the chat here can agree that I'm generally a kind, trustworthy person, and I don't look the best, and I certainly don't speak the most smoothly, but we got to be careful. We've got the World Economic Forum looking to actually take over control of countries. So not only do we give up our power to choose, a certain amount of power to choose in exchange for safety to our governments, and that's being pushed further and further away from us. Power is being removed from us and is being filtered as far as away as possible to us. It's one thing to give your power up to the state for some safety, but then the federal governments are becoming more and more powerful and trying to grab and take more power. Now you've got the World Economic Forum and the WHO, the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization is actually working to make it so that they choose for almost all the countries in the world. If there is any form of, if they're in any way worried about a pandemic or, the safety of animals, the climate, habit, ecological systems, that for everybody's sake, they can just blanket choose what freedoms get and liberties get removed across the planet, what sacrifices you have to make for your safety. Like we're all a bunch of dumb children that can't make choices for ourselves. Ridgeview, I'm liking the comments you're dropping here. Highlander, yes, kindness always is free, and I wish there was a little more kindness and a little less hidden agenda when it comes to politics. But the World Economic Forum is working to revamp all aspects of our societies and economies, from education. We've seen what's been going on in the education system and what they're trying to teach our kids. That's scary. To social contracts and working conditions. Every country from the United States to China must participate, and every industry from oil and gas to tech must be transformed. In short, we need a great reset of capitalism. And what this reset is that they want is essentially, it's wild. It's socialism or communism. And remember, the socialists were the original fascists. And also remember that, I had a nice little skit. We'll see it next week, but it reminds us that the Democratic Party originally was the party that fought to keep slavery. And a lot of these, future plans do seem like going more towards what would be considered more towards just being workers. If you're just going to work and you don't have much choice, you don't get to own property, you get to rent. That's part of the World Economic Forum's plan, that we own nothing and rent everything. Well, then what wealth building are you getting to do? Well, what you're really getting to do is you're getting closer to a state of serfdom or slavery, because they want to provide you with your food, your little allowance to go buy your, in Canada, they're talking about a $2,000 allowance for everyone. And for us not to own anything, I don't see that as a great system. I see it as a system that will make individuals weaker. That's what worries me about it. And of course, a lot of students get into loving the idea of socialism because as students, they have nothing and they want everything. They're upset when they can't get out of university, and with their bachelor's degree or master's degree, they're like, what is this? I can't have 150 or 200,000 a year job. This system is broken. And then they want free stuff. Well, I learned this week, I learned what socialism does. Over the Christmas holidays, I had twice a bag of carrots go bad. Badish. They're a little black on the outside, but they're still edible without it peeled off the black. Well, I put them out in the garden. I figured, you know what? Let's see if they grow anything come spring. I'll throw some dirt on top of them come spring, or, for now, maybe this will make some animals a nice Christmas feast. Well, the deer came in and they ate the feast. And then 2 weeks later, I put out some more carrots and the deer came back. And well, I can tell you from the snow what has happened to these deer. They have become useless. They keep coming back to the house. Over the period of 2 months, there have been carrots out twice, and they are wasting their time coming back to the house over and over. This is why you don't feed wild ducks. If you don't feed wild ducks, they won't fly away and they'll freeze in the ice come winter. And that's the problem with socialism. When you give people, or communism, when you give people things for free, they become weak and useless. And, and you've seen this, maybe you've read some psychological studies with animals, and this works on humans as well. If you reward a behavior a few times, they'll keep repeating that behavior. You'll have pigeons that if you reward them for pecking at something, and then reward them again, even though they pecked more. And then in the third time you reward them, but after they've pecked 3 or 4 times more than the first initial peck to get the food reward, they'll peck until they have no beak left. They'll peck away their beak. That's the problem with giving animals, including humans, things for free. You got to have a system where people can work hard, that they can work and meet all their needs. And if they work hard, they'll have much more than their needs. They'll be able to provide for their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Well, that's the type of system that breeds excellence. Now, I like the comment about the freezer, and well, you know what? If we end up in a system where we own nothing, maybe to survive, if things get really bad, maybe I will have some deer meat, some deer hanging around. And you've got Klaus Schwab here talking about forcing a system for the sake of the environment, for the sake of climate change, just essentially destroying capitalism. And we'll own nothing and we will be happy. But all our actions will be dictated by some puppet masters. And that's what worries me about government getting rid of all paper money and having, these government issued points and a whole sort of cryptocurrency, but government cryptocurrency. It is concerning. They want to put a ton of pressure and force businesses to get along with the project. And we've got to vote against this, but it's wild because, you've got Elon Musk here being pretty worried, and I think fairly pretty worried, saying that in the US, you don't need government issued ID to vote and you can mail in your ballot. He says it's insane. Yes, that's insane. And I worry about all the illegal immigration that's occurred. Is this going to affect the outcome of, are these people going to be voting? And they're getting things for free, so you know who they're going to be voting for. And I don't think the long-term effect of getting things for free is all that good. We saw people got free stuff in the last 3 years. You saw how reluctant many people were to go back to work. The workforce was really quite low. So just to compare, Elon Musk talked here about France. He says, why does France require paper ballots, IDs, and signature forms? Why did France ban mail-in voting in 1975 amid fears of potential fraud? Why must a French voter fill out a form in advance and deliver it to a police station in order to assign a proxy voter? And why can that proxy only vote on behalf of one other French citizen? Because France takes the integrity of its elections seriously and isn't tricked by lies from hucksters afraid of losing their power. France gets a lot wrong, but they have voting right. Now in Canada, we are a little more cautious when it comes to voting as well. When I show up in person, I have to show a piece of ID like my driver's license, off a list saying I've already voted, so no one can go in after me with a fake license, and I need to be on their list. So a dead person, for example, can't vote. An illegal immigrant can't vote. Now Elon Musk makes a good point here. He says, in the USA, you don't need government-issued ID to vote, and you can mail in your ballot. That's insane. And asking for more securities in regards to the voting system isn't racist. It's about having safe, fair elections. So that's part of this little preview on the rant. Next week, we'll also talk about how Pfizer bought out a company. And the company they bought out only makes $2 billion per year. I know, only $2 billion. It sounds kind of crazy, but this company making $2 billion a year got bought out for $42 or $43 billion by Pfizer. It's going to take them, probably 18 to 25 years to break even. Why would Pfizer ever do this? Well, one of the heads of Pfizer says it's because this company researches and has treatment for turbo cancers. And according to Pfizer, this Pfizer head, turbo cancers are going to increase so dramatically in the future that 33% of people will have a turbo cancer. Now, I've got to ask the question. Come back to next week's live on Sunday at 6 p.m. to let us know how could Pfizer, a head at Pfizer, possibly know or believe and be willing to bet tens of billions of dollars on the idea that 33% of individuals will have a turbo cancer in the future. How could they possibly believe that? How could they know that? Did we all get something the last 3 years that will maybe cause this to become true? I don't know. Let me know in the comments section this week, and get ready to chat in next week's live episode. I'll have a little less, maybe a topic or two less on the car stuff, so we can talk a little bit of rant. If you're still enjoying it, folks, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, type finisher. Have a great night. Wishing you all more cars and more power. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Have a great week. And please, please work to stay safe and stay free. Stay free, folks. Stay safe. Have a great week.